Nice to him today, guys. He's gay. It's Pride Month, so be nice to him.
Let's get right into the news. Yeah.
Let's get right into the news.
All right, let's get the candidates on the stage. We have Gun. I'm inviting you to speak. Zephyr. Bad Trav. Okay. Where are the others?
George is here, but I think the console might be a little late.
Oh, he'll be a little bit late.
Yeah, he's currently commanding Volkswagen on the front lines right now.
Oh, interesting. All right, Bad Trav and Gun. Can you guys hear us? You guys have mics?
Yep,
Yep.
we can.
Yep.
All right, okay, cool, great. All right, so you guys are here. Just waiting on.
George is in the audience right now.
Is he? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I got it. Hang on. George is in the audience. I'm looking for him. Oh, there's George. I see him now. There we go. And then now we just need Peepers.
Yeah, he's in the middle of a civil war, so he might be a little bit late.
He's on the way. He is here. Here's Mr. Peepers. There we go. Peepers, you there?
I am. I'm gonna have to find a quiet place here.
Don't get shot in the corner now.
Okay.
Okay. Is your compatriot, Mr. Wheeler, not coming? He said he would come this debate.
No, I don't think he's gonna be here. He seems like he's been tied up with work lately.
He's
Okay.
he's in the audience. He's got his hand up.
Is he?
Oh, there you go.
There he is.
Oh.
Wheeler, come on up.
Thank God.
Hello,
It's a
I'm
surprise.
coming. Yeah,
Welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome.
just got home. Smell like garlic, you know.
All right. Perfect. Okay, everybody's here. All right, everybody, welcome to the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor debates. This is an important historical time for all of us here. We have 6 candidates and 3 separate tickets here on the stage. We're going to start with some introductions to each of the different tickets. So ticket 1 is George Cole and Zephyr. Ticket 2 is Peepers and Kieran Wheeler. And ticket 3 is Bad Trav and Gun with their respective characters. There'll be 2 parts to this. We'll be asking questions for all the candidates, and then we'll ask individual questions of the candidates. And here and there, my senior bosses at CNN, I don't know, we fired the old guy for sexual harassment. Something happened to him. I don't know what he did, but we got a new boss now. He'll be asking questions, and we'll see what goes on. That did legitimately happen at CNN though, a long time ago, but it sucks for them. Okay. Introductions, ticket 1. Let's go with George Cole and Zephyr. George, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself and your candidacy.
Yeah, hi. So I'm George. You might know me as Manfred von Göttingen. I've been in this position before. we've got a plethora of experience, myself and Mr. Zephyr Tempest. We're going to give you success. That is our promise to you. I'll pass it on to Zephyr now. I think he's got quite a lot to say, and he's quite excited to do so.
Of course, of course. I'm Zephyr. You might know me as the Foreign Affairs Minister or State Minister now. I'm gonna try and help George out with fixing the state and making sure everything is better in our great German Empire. Hopefully that does happen. I'll have a lot to say, depending on your questions, and that's about it.
All right, awesome. Let's move on to ticket 2.
Real quick, first interjection here. Hey, Zephyr,
Yeah, what's up?
could you tell everyone what part of the world you're from?
Yeah, I'm Israeli. I'm Israeli.
Hey,
Shalom,
So-
shalom, Halayim.
Is it legal to be
Halayim,
here?
Yerushalayim.
Is it legal?
I'm Yisrael. Hi. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Shalom,
thanks.
bro.
Thanks, Drew. Anyways, thank you. Welcome aboard. All right, the next one. Let's go to Peepers. Peepers, please begin. Tell everybody who you are.
Sure. I'm the current consul of the German Party administration, and I think most of you have dealt with me in some way or another in the past. And the reason I'm running for this office, which I wouldn't normally do, is because we need a bit of a change in the way things have gone and the way things have been going. There's been a lot of stagnation. I think the chancellor position's been a cult of egos, so to speak, and a lot of times when these chancellors get into the job, they get comfortable, and they get comfortable doing kind of the same thing, which is giving themselves the power they need to not really have to deal with a lot of pushback on their policies. So I believe that right now the job is more important towards making some changes with things that are lacking in the empire and things that are lacking within the city. Some of those changes obviously are the direction of the party and its role to play in society and its role to play in the government since the disbanding of the Reichstag. And another one of those directions is adding a little bit of fervency and ideology into why we're doing the things we're doing, both internally and externally. I think we need to have a clear purpose and goal in our wars, whether they be offensive or defensive. I think we need to have clear purpose and goals as to internal security, and the days of propping up individuals for their own safety and longevity should end in favor of adding some unity between the party and state and adding some unity between the government, the nation, and the goals we have as a nation. And I'll let my Vice Chancellor elect speak next.
Hello, I'm Karen Wheeler. I've been around for I don't know, 3 years. Karen Wheeler's been alive 3 years, guys. I've been VK before. It was quite a boring term, won't lie, because the cabinet was boring. The people that got in those positions were boring. But, the power of the people, as they say. What's going to be different during my term? Well, you're not going to have the same boring-ass people you've had at the same time for the past fucking year. You're going to have a little bit of fun, something different. You're going to have people that can actually do their shit. You're going to have people that can, create an enjoyable experience for the German citizens in the nation. The people saying boring, you can kill yourself. That's all I really got to say.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll go to ticket 3. Bad Trav and Gun. So Bad Trav, let everybody know who you are and
Yep.
why you're running.
All right, wonderful. Pleasure to see you all here today. I am Bad Trav Theodore Colt. I'm a major in the military. I'll keep this simple. My running mate Gun, he is Carl Breaker, former chief of Lapo. What we're going to do is we're going to stomp out communism once and for all, and we're going to give money back to the German people. I'll hand it off to him now.
Thank you, Bad Trav. I am the ex-chief of Lapo. I think I have a lot of good things to add to this government. We both do. I have connections within the MOI. He has connections within the military. I think we have great things to add to the table, and we can make the German Empire better than it's ever been.
Okay, great. Okay, well,
Another real quick interjection. For those of you who know, does anyone think Bad Trav sounds like a younger Elliot Goldbergstein? Am I the only one?
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Yeah, no, he does.
Was that kind of crazy?
He
That's the
sounded
first
really
thing I
similar.
thought of when he started talking. That was crazy.
Yes, he does.
All right, anyways, that was all.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to be going to asking all the candidates questions. This will be going to each one of you. We'll first start with the first ticket, George Cole and Zephyr. I'll be asking a question, and then Gary will be asking the second question. So the first question I'm going to ask to all candidates, starting with George Cole and Zephyr. Actually, mainly it's just to George Cole because this is for the chancellor position. There has been an established federal council system where members of the government meet once a week to decide on policies of the nation. However, the chancellor has at his disposal the position of Hand of the Kaiser and leads the Emperor's Small Council. What would you do with this prestigious position, and how would you embolden it to be a powerful tool within Berlin? Go for it, George.
So, yeah, I mean, the Emperor's Small Council, we've seen this for quite a while now, and it's never really been used by people, very rarely, to throw the weight about. Now, with a position like this, you've got a seat on the Emperor's Small Council, you kind of expect these people who hold these positions to abuse it almost, to throw their weight around and to properly, make a bit of chaos with it. What I'll be doing with my picks for the small council, I'll be looking for people primarily that I know want to cause a bit of havoc, cause a bit of a ruckus, and to sort of build on something. So for the Marines, for example, for the naval affairs spot, that will be going to somebody who I believe has a very good chance at causing a bit of havoc, building on that position and gaining some influence. That's really the priority with a small council. Obviously, it's a way to make money. Everybody knows that. Virus, I think he charged, what was it, 30,000, 40,000 a pop last time. The thing I'm going to prioritize is making things interesting.
Okay. Peepers, what about you? Hand of the Kaiser, as chancellor, what are you going to do with this small council to make it emboldened and powerful?
I'm going to be honest. I think it's time for some change. I think it's time for some excitement. I think in the past we've had, like I said, we've had these small bursts of energy, but they really don't translate into any kind of long-term efficiency or success. So, other than the changes to government that integrate the party into the state, I think that we need to add some zealousy and fervency into everything we do internally and externally, like I said earlier. So what I want to do is I want to get people in there who are willing to lead this crusade that we've talked about, this crusade against communism, this crusade against the forces of evil that are on the borders of our empire, pushing inwards, causing instability. And we've seen how many wars against Austria, Italy, and now we have instability in Spain, instability on the border of France. I want people in these positions who can lead the troops, whether internal or external, towards a common purpose and goal, a unified purpose and goal.
Mhm.
I want people to be able to know why we're going to war, because we're here to fight a communist threat. We're here to fight a common threat that we can unify behind, both internally and externally. Something that we've lacked in the past. When it comes to positions like plenipotentiary of law, I believe that the person in that position should be creating policy for the MOJ, with the MOJ, that will increase security, decrease some of the instability we've seen when it comes to internal security positions and security positions on the plenipotentiary positions. I want to put people in there who are willing to be strict, who are willing to be
1 minute.
go ahead, willing to be strict, who are willing to take the position and not be afraid to mandate and not be afraid to legislate. I want people on the council who, instead of just holding a weekly meeting with the Kaiser and saying, okay, I better have something prepared because otherwise, I'm going to look stupid. There's a direction, and when we meet, we're all talking about the same idea. We're in a crusade against something, and every single position on that council has something to prepare, has done something that week to further that crusade.
Okay, awesome. And then Bad Trav, Hand of the Kaiser, your chancellor, what would you do with the Emperor's Small Council?
Like what they said, I want to add something, but not only do I want to add this zealousness, this eagerness, I want to make sure this council is interconnected, keep it fluid, keep it like interlinked so that they can work together, not against each other. in every matter that they face. And so it can better relate to everything that they do, won't have many issues, fallback, that they'll always be working together. That's what I have to say.
Okay, all right. Gary is going to take off the next question for all the candidates.
Yeah, this question's for all the candidates. So, who do you support more across the factions? Are you supported more by the Ministry of Interior or the Ministry of War? Where do you garner your support base from? And we can start with George on that one.
And they'll go to Zephyr
Sure.
after and so on, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite fortunate to be in a position where I've just come back from a sort of break. I don't really owe anything to any of the factions. I don't have to rely on them in terms of I've committed my career so far in game to that faction. With the military, I've obviously got a job in there at the moment. So favor comes to favor, I'll probably help them out a little bit. But at the same time, I've still got friends in the Interior Ministry. I've got friends all across the board. So I'm not going to be going to one specific faction for a proper support base. It's going to be a mixed bag, circumstantial, like I did last time, really.
Okay, and Zephyr?
Well, the issue is as a minister, I have to be impartial to some degree, but personally, I think it's important to strengthen the security services in favor of having a secure nation. That's the most important. Obviously, the military shouldn't be disregarded, but we have to have a strong connection to our foreign security services. It's important to have a strong presence on the world stage, and I think that's what we really need, especially since it has been lacking, at least under what I've seen as foreign affairs minister.
Color me surprised. The Jew wants Mossad. That's
We
great.
need it. We need
That's
Mossad. We need it. I'm sorry, it's necessary.
Oh. Okay, Gary.
Yeah, we'll move on to Peepers.
I know my mic's a pain in the ass, so I apologize for that. Hopefully this is a little bit better. Again, I have the ability to as consul to kind of sit in the middle of some of these things, and I do reach out to both sides when I can and try to create those relationships. A lot of times what happens, and this is just what always happens, is one side will make a decision based off of one ego or one personality or another that ends up pushing the scales and pushing a faction towards the other. I think right now, realistically speaking and honestly speaking, that's pushing the GPA towards the military. But that doesn't mean that the GPA doesn't want to have cordial relations with all factions. That being said, as Chancellor, I think the most important element of the job is to create a mandate for the whole nation, to create a mandate for all sides. You're going to see some pushback. It's healthy to have rivalry between the two sides, whether it's military or the Ministry of Interior. However, you want to have a referee of sorts to some degree who's willing to stand on top and say, okay, you guys can have your rivalry as long as there's fair play and as long as we're making progress. I think when you get rivalries with the sole purpose of dismantling the other side, it's not healthy for the nation. It's not healthy for the city. It's not healthy for anyone. So, the idea shouldn't be total destruction of an opposition. And a lot of times what you see when you get either a chancellor or a disparity within the different factions or egos, you're going to have one side just take apart the other. And we've all been here long enough to know that when one side starts to suffer, you get a lot of transfers to the other. So it's a compounding process. So I believe there should be some neutrality when it comes to the chancellor. I do think as the as the man closest to the emperor, especially other than the crown council or the emperor's office,
30 seconds.
I do believe that he should be mandating and refereeing some of these events in a way that creates some sort of unity.
Okay, Kieran.
Well, as a person who just came back from a deployment, and previous administrations of the Ministry of the Interior much disliked me, considering they sent me on said deployment.
Nice.
But
So you've got some icy kind of like rivalry with the interior
Oh
ministry,
yeah,
is what you're
big
saying.
fucking time. I don't know about Dreyfus now because I've not really been on in the past 2 days, but we will see.
Well,
Come
these are
time.
the people that sent you into Spain in a rowboat.
Former
correct?
administration.
Uh-huh.
Right, but the interior ministry sent you
Former
to Spain.
administration.
The interior ministry sent you to Spain in a rowboat, right?
That is correct, and I
Okay.
did row my jolly way over there. If you look at me now, I'm 6'5", massive muscles, guys. You won't fuck with me.
Okay, that remains to be seen. We'll go into the next guys. Bad Trav.
All right. So
If you
As-
need me to repeat the question,
Yeah,
just let me know.
I would repeat it again for them.
yeah, can you,
want me
repeat
to
it for
repeat it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, who do you support more across the factions? Are you supported by, do you support or are you supported more by the Ministry of Interior or the Ministry of War, or neither? Like, where do you gain your power base from? And which
I
one are
feel
you
like
more
I'm
inclined
more
to support? Sorry. go ahead.
by the Ministry of War. Due to me, I've dedicated my life to the military. I'm a major in it, you know me. However, my vice chancellor, Gunn, he was the ex-chief of Lapo, and that means that he will be more impartial to the Ministry of Interior, which I feel is a great mix because then we can keep each other in check if we see that we're favoring one or the other side too much. We can tell each other that. We can talk to each other, have a conversation. We both have interacted with each other's factions, and we feel like we can help the two factions more work together, not against each other. And like as with him as my vice chancellor, he'll be more on the MOI dealing with them. I'll deal more with the military, and it'll just be good from there.
Okay, so you just want like everybody to be neutral,
Uh,
kind of thing. Like you said,
basically.
you said you want them to work together.
I want them. I don't want the fighting. You see, like there's a lot of fighting going on. There's a lot of pointless battles going on between them. I want to bring them together as much as possible.
Okay. That's
And Gun, Carl Baker, right? That's your
Yeah,
IC?
Carl
Yes,
Baker.
Carl Breaker.
Go ahead.
I love all factions a lot, especially the military and MOI. Before I was even Lepo, I was in the military. I met some amazing people in all factions, and like Bad Trav said, I don't like the fighting, and I think if we work together more and could, use our words more than our guns, a lot more could get done, and less lives spilled for no reason, and money being spilled on the streets for no reason. I think, yeah.
All right. Okay, so now we'll go to the next set of questions. These questions are going to be pointed to each candidate. So we'll start with ticket 1. This is going to be for George. George, this is a pointed question to you. You were the former chancellor and had a history of using your authority to make decrees, such as the Terror Decree, which was controversial at the time. You left the job of chancellor to take Minister of War and allegedly made people think you as a job hopper. How do you explain those claims against you of being considered a job hopper and someone just takes jobs and leaves them?
Sure. I mean, it's no secret that I have hopped jobs, so to speak. I do frequently jump to different jobs, but you have to look at why. Typically, it's because I believe in the case of a specific faction, in this case, the Ministry of War, I thought I had a good chance at resolving issues that I had seen over a number of months. The Ministry of War, ever since Marshall left it when I became Interior Minister, it really struggled. You had the situation when it was Brownie Meister and Callaway in the dual field marshal type role, it really struggled. Then it was Callaway on his own, he again really struggled. So I thought, okay, I'll throw my name in the hat, I'll put an application in and see if I'm the best person selected. And in this case, I was. Naturally, that tenure wasn't as successful as I'd have liked it to be, but it led to one of, if not the best Ministry of War that the server's ever seen. So was it the right thing to do? That's for you people to decide. And what was the first part of the question again? Sorry.
Well, the people see you as a job hopper, but what
Yeah.
makes you better than Peepers and Bad Trav? Why are you considered better than them?
Well, I'd say purely based on experience. You've seen my track record, everybody in here. I started out as a consul I then went to Interior Minister, then took Chancellor with my own hands, and then moved on to the Ministry of War. This time around, though, it's different because I will have, if elected, a democratic mandate. And you mentioned at the start the terror decree, how it was seen as controversial. The terror decree was my support. It was my bedrock upon what my administration came to. I had no democratic mandate. I wasn't elected. I wasn't chosen. I just took it myself. This time around, though, I think it's going to be really interesting because it's the opposite case. I'm going to have a democratic mandate, if elected, to do whatever, really. And I'm not going to have to rely on this controversial decree, which inherently was extremely illegal.
So you say you're better than them because you have more
Real
experience.
quick. I need some more pointed attacks. Okay, guys, you guys are not being violent enough. We need some more arguments here. All right, I've got 2 hours left of my drive, so I need arguments.
Sure. I mean,
and then also feel free to chime in, guys. Hello,
Yeah.
like 2016 debates here, people. Let's go. Okay.
Yeah, Papers, how do you
Sure.
respond to that? He said he's better than you just based on experience.
I mean, I'm not going to give you the negative response to some degree that you're probably looking for. I do think George is good at what he does. I think he's got a lot of experience. And again, I just think that from a position hopping standpoint, you got to look at the facts. And the facts are that George was a consul, and as consul, I can tell you there are very little things within the GPA that really stuck around and made a big difference. I get it. There was
Well, you
the
have to look at
Reichstag.
why
I get
Peters
the
with this,
Reichstag
right?
was a thing and it was
Yeah.
disbanded. And I get that there's a lot of floating about. And fine, we can give him some credit for that. But at the end of the day, you know, people in the military know whether there's anything there that really they can attribute to his leadership, any structure, organization. People in the MOI know whether there's any structure, or organization. I would argue, and again, I like George. He's a good guy, but I would argue, or I'm sorry, Mr. Gottingen, he's a good guy, but I would argue that he does like to, you know, put the titles under his name.
This is not an IC debate. You can call up George.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I like George. He's a good guy, but he likes the titles, you know. And I think it makes it clear when he returns to the server, you know, and a week later is running for the position of chancellor. You know, it's like, hey, I'm going to take a breather for a week or two, and then I'm going to come right back into my job. I mean, is that what this is going to be? Is this going to be?
Well, I mean, you have to look at why though, Peepers. No one else was going to run for it. That's interesting. You've been in the position of consul for what, a day, 2 days before you announced your campaign, before you announced that you would run for chancellor. So, I mean, you can throw these accusations at me, but I'll turn this around on you. How are you any different from me when you've just come back, you've just got this position of prominence, and now you're throwing in the name, your name in the hat for chancellor? It's
Well,
the
no,
same thing.
what have you done, Peepers? I mean,
And
that's a good
honest.
question.
What have you
What
done?
have you
What
actually
have you
done
done
to
as
deserve
a
the position of
consul?
chancellor on your character?
Okay, so
Vice consul. You
yeah,
have.
I'll answer that.
You've looked down the
everybody.
city every day this week, and that's about it. You've released
So
a
the
document that was written by
difference is-
ChatGPT.
The
I mean,
difference
it's you know.
and I'm answer the question. If you're gonna ask you the question, I'm happy to answer. So the difference is, I came in, spent almost a month as an enlisted an NCO in Lapo, right? I turned down multiple jobs multiple times so that I could build up, get a feel for everything, and see where a good fit for me would be. When I came in the server, I wasn't planning on spending the time that I'm spending doing this. However, when I saw that things were needed and I could be of use in certain areas, I took the job as a vice consul, because obviously Gary was chancellor and consul, and it's you know, for he needs someone strong to be able to do both parts. I've been CDPK multiple times, for those that remember, and so the job as vice consul fits well into my portfolio. Now, what I noticed, and the reason I'm running for chancellors, and I'm going to be honest with you, since we're here talking OOCL, isn't because I want the job, I want the title, because I dislike George and don't think he can do the job. It's because there's something seriously lacking. And there needs to be an integration of party and state. Since the Reichstag was disbanded, as consul, and I'm sure Gary saw this when he was consul, and maybe you even saw this when you were consul, there is a lack of direction between what the party is and what the state is. There's overlap, there's gray area, there is cloudiness and fogginess, and it's hard to determine what role the GPA plays. Well, that role should be
On the
clear.
other hand,
It
though,
should.
Peepers, with that, right?
Hey,
Are you
I'm
not in a
trying to get
position?
involved in the debate, but I just wanted to say that was my whole objective, was to make it cloudy so I could acclimate both of them into the same thing and exert my control over the party and state.
Exactly.
Yeah,
waiting for it to
this is the
happen.
thing though with the party and state though, Peepers. You talk about this grey area and stuff. You're supposed to take that grey area and abuse the shit out of it. If there's a question, there's a grey area. And I know sometimes you don't necessarily like doing this, but you abuse the shit out of that. If there's no definitive answer, then you make that answer. Then you do your own thing and assert your own power into that position. It's like if I was Consul and you're in the position that you're in now, I'd start looking onto making party membership a requirement for, the MOI government itself. I don't know if Gary's already done that completely. Even the military, looking to do that, politicize the military. I don't know really what you've been doing with it, but you have. I know you've not been in the position for long, but with these grey areas, you've just got to look to exploit them. And I don't think necessarily they're the worst thing in the world to have these grey areas.
To be fair, like, you have been vice consul for a while. You could abuse what Gary had, but you've done, I'll be honest, nothing. Like, what have you done that has impacted the party in a long-term way like Gary did? He did unify the party and state, and you want to go back to, you want to abuse the rules that Gary made, but you do nothing. You've done nothing with it.
Yeah. You have to look at what Gary did to do that.
Hold on. I
came
get it.
from
I get it.
Consul to
I've
do
done.
it,
You guys
right?
think I've done nothing with the party.
Well, you haven't.
However, I've taken the party and done a complete rework of the entire party and made it in a new way that actually has some realistic and actually active positions within the framework of the server, right? So instead of having positions in the party that are worthless and are paper pushers or may do passive RP, where you never even see the person in the uniform, we've changed all of that, okay? Now the Volkswatch under Gary was huge, massive, okay? And it was the primary visual element of the party, which fine, okay, but the Volkswatch was dismantled. So everything you see when it comes to the party right now is a rebuild of the party. Now, again, if you've seen just by the things I've posted, if you think I've done nothing in the past 2 days on my
ChatGPT
position,
wrote that for you.
if you've seen
Yeah,
in the past 2 days on my position, then you're going to notice that a lot's changed and a lot is changing. Just yesterday we came out with the treason decree, which is going to shake things up quite a bit. But again, I'm not running for consul. I'm already consul. Whether I get chancellor or not, I'll still be consul. And those changes will
Let's
continue.
get a move on, people.
Yeah. We're gonna move on. Yeah.
Hey, guys, I have to interrupt about something real quick. Something just came up, and I have to unfortunately leave. Theodore
thank
Cole can
fuck.
mostly speak for me. So I have to go. Have fun with this.
Get him out.
Okay,
you
goodbye,
guys.
Gun. Okay, well, I won't be able to ask Gun that question.
We'll take your votes, guys.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next question. Gary has it straight for Zephyr, then we'll move on to ticket 2.
Yeah. Okay. So Zephyr, as Foreign Affairs Minister, many people have considered your term to be lackluster, and it was told that you died within an hour as the Minister of War. What would you do differently as Vice Chancellor?
What would I do differently as vice chancellor?
I think more like the question is asking, like, what do you plan on doing as Vice Chancellor to be exciting, to keep the player engaged, those kinds of things, like make the Federal Council more interesting. And as far as like the things that you've learned from your short term as the Minister of War, what do you plan to do differently?
Well, what I plan on doing differently, very explicitly, is, well, I want to expand more on state interaction in the server in general. There should be interactions with the state more. They shouldn't just be seen as mysterious ministers that just lurk in the Reichstag, that don't have anybody below them, that just don't do anything. I mean, the ministry should be bigger than the ministers themselves. To be fair, it's too limited of just, oh, hey, Killian Rush is the science minister. That's who does science. Nobody sees any of the people that generally do hard work in the ministries more like they should. And the issue of state and in general of my interaction as Foreign Affairs Minister, I've done a lot. I've done meetings with the Polish. I've done meetings with the Americans. I've done meetings with multiple other people, and we have a lot more planned for the Foreign Affairs Ministry. I'm not going to leave as Foreign Affairs Minister and not do my job. But the Foreign Affairs Ministry, in all honesty, doesn't have a lot to do in the city. It's more interaction based on the world
30
stage
seconds.
of the world. So it's just in general, you're not going to see much of them, but I want more from the other ministries and from the council itself.
Okay. Nobody else has any response. Bad Trav, nothing from you about Zephyr and his job? Or
Nope.
okay. Papers, nothing from you? All right.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. So again, let's close our eyes and picture something. Right now, we have the Canadian Parliament, pretty much is what the Imperial Council is, right? It's hey, you're Minister of Science, you're Minister of Armaments, you're Minister of this. Luckily, if we're lucky, they'll log into the server, once a week and maybe pass something of partial value if we're really lucky. But there really isn't anything direction wise that we're doing here. I mean, let's picture a situation where we have what do we want? What brings 128 people onto the server on a daily basis? What brings 128 people on the server during off-peak hours? I'm telling you what that is you need some sort of fervency. You need some sort of zealousy. You need fanaticism. You need a war. You need something exciting, something to rally behind. If we bring that to the server, and so it's something different, right? And right now it's not there. You can tell the Minister of Science, hey, what's new from you today? Well, we're working on a new rocket. Well, fantastic. What's the rocket for? I don't know. It's just something I'm working on, right? That rocket should be for stopping communism and stamping out communism, conquering France, whatever it may be that we get involved in. That's what we should be doing, and we need to be doing that. And if we do that, then we're bringing people onto the server.
Okay. This is for Peepers directly. For you, Peepers, since you're going to want to become Chancellor, and that's your objective, you should. What are the countries that we are at war with, and who are our allies?
So we were at war with Austria for a long time, a long time, way too long. We ended up winning that war. Austria is now being integrated. Italy is now a problem. Obviously, the fascist government in Italy is a problem. We've got Yugoslavia, which is causing us problems now as well. Spain has a communist revolution in which they're fighting on multiple fronts. France is starting their communist little revolution internally, which is pushing on our exterior borders. We've got allies with Poland. We've got allies, I believe, with Hungary. And I may be missing a few, but I'm pretty sure those are the big ones.
Okay, question to George. George, was that correct? What countries are we at war with, and who are our allies?
So at the moment, we're at war with Italy. We were at war with Austria. We're currently also at war with Yugoslavia. Our allies are Hungary, but we're also working on sort of a volunteering thing with Spain. We are pushing, I believe it's the Cartelist administration, the one that stands behind the Spanish monarch, into a position of prominence and success in their civil war. That's something that we want to get done immediately. We want to really get the Spanish Civil War over and done with, and get them allied with us.
30. I'm going to take that and go 30 seconds to Bad Trav. Bad Trav, do you know who we're at war with? That they may or may not be correct, but I'm asking you. Do you know for sure who we're at war with and who our allies are?
I didn't hear anything wrong from them. I know that we're at war with Italy. I know we're at war with Hungary. I mean, well, we're not at war with Hungary.
Hold on.
We're at war with
What?
Yugoslavia. That was a slip up. Apologies. No, I didn't mean that. We're allies with Hungary. That's what I know.
Slip up. What are you, dyslexic?
Apologies.
War with anybody
I
else?
misspoke. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so one country.
I said Italy and Yugoslavia.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna move on to the next one then. Okay. So thanks. So just want to double check on that knowledge. This is gonna go to Gary. Gary's gonna ask this next one here.
Yeah. Kieran, you were a former vice chancellor, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people considered your term was lackluster and useless, as you're considered boring and uninteresting, including your tenure as a Minister of Justice, where the ministry did not thrive. What changes are there now with you as far as your play style and what you plan on bringing to the table as Vice Chancellor?
Could there have been a more biased question than that? Holy shit! That's wow! Wow! Is this Fox News and he's Hillary Clinton? Like what the fuck?
Am I about to be bent over
Working
or
overtime.
something?
CNN is working overtime.
Who wrote that question? One of you wrote that shit. Holy hell!
CNN is working overtime.
Lord, yeah.
Well,
Golly.
to answer the question, I guess it's quite a fun one. Vice Chancellor term, I had a council that was very interesting, and that was actually my first time being a member of NHC. No idea how it worked. I've never done this thing before. I might have been there for years, but you know, I'd never really play that much to get up to general and suck everyone off. The MOJ term was very interesting. The first term was where it was more of people weren't doing shit, couldn't catch people up, people didn't want to do that kind of role play. To the second term with George under his command when he was Chancellor. That time was a rape and pillage moment. Now, those people getting thrown in left, right, and centre. I'm sure he can fully agree with me on that. We did do a little bit of trolling, which did send me to a different country for a little bit, because a few people got a little bit scared. But other than that, you know, pussies be pussies. Send away the strong people, you know what I'm saying?
So
Let me
you're
defend
saying
my running mate if I
so-
can for a second here, just real quick. You
Who,
gotta understand,
Kieran?
as MOJ, you gotta
Yeah,
understand.
go ahead.
George killed the Minister of Justice, which was
Yeah.
me. Made himself
I mean,
Minister of Justice,
I did.
and then appointed someone Minister of Justice who we knew would be a yes man. So you can't really blame
Yeah,
him.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that true, Kieran? You're a yes man for George?
No, that's not true. That's not true at
Oh.
all. It was quite funny because George originally thought I was a yes man until I double backed his ass.
How did you
saying.
double back my ass?
Deepers, did you just call your running mate a yes man?
Yes, he did.
I think that.
And I am a yes man.
I
Yes,
think
he really
George
did.
figured. I think George figured he would be someone easy he can trust in office, but obviously he ended up on the front lines. But again, that's what happens to anyone who doesn't agree with George when he's in office.
Well, you have to look at the hold
Wait,
on,
hold on,
Peters.
hold on.
You have
I
to
can
look at
hold on,
the
I can answer
situation.
that.
Well, no.
I didn't
You have to
agree
look at the
with George.
situation where
I didn't-
Kieran was made Justice Minister, right? I'm going to refer back to the Terror Decree. I declared myself Chancellor, acting Minister of Justice, and acting Minister of the Interior
Dictator.
until a selection. Yeah, the dictator of the server until someone else was appointed. The position of Minister of Justice was one of those positions where I had to be really, really careful about who I put in that position, because if they turned against me, my legality, my stability, my bedrock is gone. They could just say, this is illegal.
All fine. That's all well and fine, George. And mine. But the difference is that right before you ended up dismantling the Ministry of Justice, Virus and the crew and everybody in there really spent a lot of time creating actual RP and something that could be
They
used on
did.
the server in multiple
And
scenarios.
you
Right?
tried
We had
to
a
put
very
subpoenas out
efficient
for me
system.
for treason for detaining you in my
Okay,
office, right? As
okay,
Interior Minister.
we had
That's what happened.
Well, I think Mr. Tapper can speak to that as well. But we had a very efficient and well-rounded system that created a hell of a lot of RP in the server, right? We had multiple large trials, Supreme Court, big spectacles, but you just ended up
Corruption.
dismantling that. You made yourself
Well,
Mr.
that's the
Justice
thing,
you
though.
didn't
This
want
is
to have
down
to deal with it,
Kieran,
and that's
right?
what you do when you're
In the
these
nicest
positions.
way.
Say
In the
my
nicest way.
Denning. Say
hold
my
on a minute.
Denning.
I brought in Kieran as Minister of Justice because he's someone that I could trust at the time. I was a friend with his character. My character was on good relations with him. But at the same time, it's not down to me to ensure that he is running his ministry to 100%. It is, but it isn't. Right?
You dismantled it,
I
George.
didn't
At what
dismantle it.
point?
I
At what
didn't
point
dismantle
isn't
it.
it about you and your personality and
How
about
did I
I
dismantle it,
spent a
Peters?
good,
How did I dismantle it?
month trying
the
to fix
Ministry
that
of
shit.
Justice was
How did I
healthier
dismantle it?
before you took over. It was healthier
I
before
don't
you took over.
disagree, but
It hasn't
there
recovered.
was a reason that
It
it had to
hasn't
be
recovered.
weakened so that my stability, my bedrock, wouldn't be questioned. right?
You, exactly. But it wasn't
I
for
mean,
the good of the server. What about the good of the server?
On the contrary, I would say it was, because that created
No, you could have
one of
worked
the
with
most.
them.
Well,
You
hold on a
could have
minute,
worked with
Peepers.
them.
That created one of the
So-
most interesting
Peepers,
little
you're
sections
claiming
of the
that
service history, right?
George is only interested in securing his own power base.
That's factual. That's
Absolutely.
factual.
But it's
Well,
not
that's not
factual. It
uncommon.
was last time.
I don't
I've
blame
already
him for
said
it.
this.
It's not
right?
uncommon, right, for chancellors
I've already
to
said
do that.
this, that I will have a democratic mandate where I
does it
won't
bring
have to do that.
128 people in when you kill a faction? No, it drives people away, and that's not good for the server.
Especially the MOJ, which is, in fact, MOJ, I remember one time, I don't know if Luther's in there or not, I gave Luther and Brownie an arrest warrant for each of their deputies at the same time. That was like a war for a good hour, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and
It's
it
128.
culminated with you rowing yourself to Spain,
Yeah,
right?
it's something to
This is the thing,
Spain.
though,
but,
Kieran.
it's
I
funny.
gave you the position of Minister of Justice with no strings, apart from "Don't overthrow me." As much as I would not, as much as I don't want to say this, right? It was down to you to make that flourish, and you didn't do that. These problems are not my fault. They are inherently because I took you out of the Minister of Justice.
Yeah, the MOJ was fucked. I was doing everything on my own, trying to recruit people. But then we decided to turn the waves into a bit more of an OOCRP. Zephyr can agree with me on that. We tried to form the Interpol and all this bullshit. Clearly didn't work, but it's
I think
fun
you all are
drama.
just losers.
All I'm saying is, if we got Interpol,
Is that all you have to say, Ben?
okay,
is it
we're swapping all on you, motherfucker. Go on, speak up.
You know, George, a lot of corruption coming from him.
Bad Trav, you're
Lot of
very
corruption.
lucky
My character was
because
corrupt.
I
My
don't think
character was corrupt.
you've held these positions that these other individuals have, such as being like ministers, and all these guys have been NHC before.
You ain't even been in the state. Shut your ass up.
You're kind of like safe to make accusations and things like that
Yeah, you
because
can make
you're
accusations.
The thing
untested,
is,
right?
I mean, somewhat, but he's unknown. Like, who knows who you fucking are? I mean,
How
doesn't
can we
matter
who
if you
are
know
you?
who I am. I'm the
Literally,
best candidate.
Who are you?
No, let him
Who
speak,
are
let him
you,
speak.
dude?
What are you
All
saying,
you
Bad
do,
Trav?
all
What are
you
saying,
do,
Bad Trav?
you two, George, corruption. All he does is
Yeah, I
appoint people
was
he
corrupt.
wants to be appointed,
Hey, he
not the
was
people
corrupt.
best
Like,
for the
he's better
job.
than I am.
Exactly.
That was my
Oh
character's
my God.
story. That was
Got
how he
Keir
got to the
Starmer
top.
up
You
in
guys
here.
want him to
Top
be
by
chancellor again?
corruption.
You guys want him to be chancellor again? All he's gonna do is appoint people that he wants
That's
to
not
appoint
true.
No,
that
that's
are
untrue.
idiots.
When I was in
completely
his
untrue.
hold on, when I was in his cabinet, when I was still foreign affairs minister, I disagreed with George on a lot of things. He never got rid of me, and the issue wasn't going against him. It was
Is it
doing
Jewish? It's
stupid
racism
shit.
if you
It
got rid
was
of you.
doing stupid shit, like just going
be
against
racist.
government in general. Like, what are you talking about? Like, he
No,
wasn't.
it caused a lot of state drama, but that was the fun bit because back then the state was fun. People in the cabinet were
Yeah,
fun.
there
Like
was
we
a
had
lot of people in
Marshall,
state,
we had
yeah.
Gavin Doris when
It
he
was
was actually
chaotic,
active
and that's
doing
how it
shit.
worked.
That
Yeah.
was good. That's when you could sit there and defend yourself and then pay
Yeah.
people off like I
Listen,
did. I used to pay people off every
That's the
fucking
thing.
day.
You made little backdoor deals. You were corrupt. That's the law. That's the
money
good
for
thing
money.
about game mode. You can be
Here's the
corrupt,
issue.
but there's always
Here's
a
the issue
risk.
when you boil it down. George is a good leader. I 100% agree, and I'd support him for this job in any other situation. But this is a time when we have 128 people on the server during off hours. This is a time we need to retain that. There needs to be a building chancellor, someone who can build these factions up to maintain numbers, to maintain activity, to maintain RP. If we can't do that during right now, and if we're just going to keep ourselves in power by dismantling other institutions that we think are a threat to us, then it's going to affect the way things are right now. It's a healthy time numbers wise on the server. It's not a healthy time government wise on the server. We have to fix that.
But I agree with you. The government is not in a healthy position, and that's going to be my priority.
And
I've already explained to you. Hold on, Bad Trav. Let me finish. I've already explained to you that my last tenure, I was a dictator. I climbed to the top by my own idea, with my own document, with my own everything. Right. This time it's different. I'm coming in an election to get voted in by the people.
Same
right?
character.
If I get voted in,
I respect
yeah,
you for what
same
you did
character.
last time, George. But what's the guarantee? How are we supposed to know that you're
There is
not
no
going to do the
guarantee.
same thing again?
That's the risk
Exactly.
of it. If you vote
There's
me,
no guarantee. You're just gonna appoint
How'd you
people
know
who you want to appoint. You're just
Why-
giving
Why-
corrupt
hold on,
I'm
Let's
not
get
gonna
some.
do that. Did I do
Let's
that
get
last
some
time?
order.
How
Let's
do
get some
you
order.
know I'm not going to walk in your office and shoot you in the face, George?
You could do that. You could try it. I mean, Aris
Well,
Whiteside
I
did
mean,
the same
Aris
thing. Look
Whiteside
how he
did
ended up.
try.
Well, yeah. Well, you see, with Aris and Zina, they both kind of died.
Let's stick on the topic. Let's stick on the topic. We've asked the question to you. Now we're going to go to Bad Trav. He needs a little, some more attention on this one. So, Bad Trav, this is for you. Could you tell everybody what is the IEU, and can you tell everybody what that is?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
my
Currently,
God.
slipped my mind. However, I'm very adaptive. I may not have experience in a lot of these things, right? You know that. You guys know my resume. I may not have experience. However, I am willing to do my best. I am willing to learn. I can learn quickly. And I believe that I'm the best for the job because these other candidates like George are corrupt. And I am not.
I was corrupt. Formerly, I was corrupt, yeah.
Okay.
But, I'm going to spin
hang
this on you now, Bad Trav. Like, you say this and you bring in these promises, but you look at the last election with Otto
Sounds like
Gosling.
Rishi
He
Sunak,
brought in the
guys. That's all
same
I'm saying.
thing. He brought in the exact same thing. A new candidate that no one really knew. They were going out on a limb by voting him. He won
Rishi
it.
Sunak
Look what
led the
happened
party.
to him. Look exactly what happened to him. The same
He
thing will
immediately
happen to you.
crumbled. He
You'll
crumbled.
Am I
get
him?
dominated. You'll get.
Am I him?
It's
You're
the same
Rishi
thing.
Sunak, dog.
Well, hold on. How can you say you're going to do anything different? Like, literally, like you are unknown. You barely know anything about the government. I mean,
How long have you been
innocent.
playing the server, Bad Trav? How long have you been here?
You're an innocent little thing that has nothing, no point of being in politics or anywhere in the government.
Hey,
to be fair,
let the people decide. Let the people decide.
We
know,
will.
this-
be the
This
wolf
is
side.
question debate.
this
We're
question
asking
is
the
the-
questions that need to be
Uh,
asked. Yeah.
This
So
question is
question-
the fun one.
I'm
This
for-
question
I'm
is
here
the
for the
fun one,
people.
because-
So, are Peepers? Are you taking his question? What is the IEU?
Well,
and
so it's the Imperial European Union. Okay,
Imperial European
the other
Union, yeah.
day we were sitting when poor Gary got killed. We were sitting in the Pantheon, and the Kaiser said he's the new emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. I think we should roll with that. The Imperial European Union seems weak compared to where we could be going with this. You know, we could really roll with this Holy Roman Empire thing, unifying Europe, creating some, a world war that could be fun for the RP elements on the server. And I think that we should be using that. So with that question, that's where I'd go with that.
okay. And George, the same thing.
W response. W response.
Yeah.
I want to be the Holy Roman Emperor, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Who's going to deliver it to the Kaiser?
Who's going to deliver me Europe? Is this election? If you want, by the way, okay, my vote's worth 50. So if you want, okay, to win this election, you got to give me Europe. Okay,
Holy
that's
Crusade.
how it works. That's how it
Holy
works.
Crusade.
Whoever delivers me Europe gets Chancellor. Okay.
Holy Roman Emperor.
Well, to be fair, George did deliver you. George Marshall helped deliver you.
Vienna,
Austria, so-
but
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that's
they got
the thing.
That was the
You look at
crumble
that.
vault.
You
Those are
look
like
at
hippie
that,
Germans.
like-
Those are pretty much just hippie Germans.
Well,
Oh,
apparently the military couldn't deal with it until George got in.
All right. So that was the questions. The question I was going to ask for Gunn is regarding his term as Lapo chief, but he's not here. So we're going to be opening up, if that's all right with you, Horse, and we can open up to the audience if there's something else.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be beautiful. Is that Joe? Joe, here. I think this is. Let's go ahead and get
Requests
up
are
here,
open.
Joe. Can
All right,
you
I'll
go
get him.
ahead and
Yep.
get on up here, Joe?
Here's Joe. Should be coming up. Where'd he go?
Joe, I invited you up here, Joe. I gave you an invite.
Hang on, I gotta do
Joe.
it again. Invite to speak. Try again,
It's,
Joe.
it's the wrong Joe. Wrong Joe.
What? Oh, it's
not
not even the
HRH.
good Joe.
I'm not
It's not
HRH.
even the good
Get
Joe.
rid of him.
Oh my
No.
God.
Yeah, I'm mute.
Oh my God.
Get rid of him.
Fucking disgusting.
You're going back to the audience. All right, the first person is Dog.
Actually, I'm gonna be the first to ask a question.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
Dog can wait his turn. Sit. So he can wait.
Sounded like Paramount. Oh my god.
My question is for Bad Trav. Okay. I've got a couple actually questions, but first will be for Bad Trav. What is it that you think you bring that makes you better than George and Peepers? What is it about you? And I don't want to hear I'm new, I'm fresh. What is it about you that gives you the confidence to think that you are going to perform better than those two?
Well, obviously, I'm definitely more connected with the people, right? I'm in the city constantly. I'm constantly connecting with people, talking to people, seeing what's going on, all right? I'm not just going to sit up in a chair, do nothing. I'm going to make sure everything is happening correctly, make sure everything is orderly, make sure everything is good in the city. I'm going to make sure the people get what they want. That's why I'm better. These people like George, Peepers, what they're going to do, they're just going to look out for themselves, all right? I'm looking out for the good of this country.
Wow. How wonderful to hear. Now, one clarification question, because, and I think newer players misunderstand this. You said you don't want people fighting. You don't want people, you want everyone working together.
Well,
The reality of this game mode is conflict, drama, fighting is what drives the player base. That's what keeps the doors open for
yes,
Prometheus.
absolutely.
Without that, I don't do this for free. So without that, there really wouldn't be any money coming in. And then suddenly, you guys would, I don't know, be playing on like modified networks or something, So conflict drives the server. So
Yes, absolutely.
all right. Next question I've got for Zephyr in particular. Could you please give a short explanation of what your IRL job is?
Sure. So right now, I was called up to the reserves to do
For what country?
for Israel.
Okay.
to do
Yeah, Bob Ballister.
for drone work and using
what work?
drones.
He's drone.
With like
I'm a drone
bombs?
pilot. Yeah, I'm a
With like
drone pilot.
bombs?
Yeah,
Any
Okay.
Palestinians in here?
yeah, recon and bombs. Yeah. But mainly I'm a history professor, and that's
He's
kind
got
of
my
what I
vote.
get
That's
back
all
to.
I'm saying.
He does seem like a good guy. I
Wow.
like this.
He's a
I
bummer.
love that. And then my final question is for so that's our IDF representative, everybody. Gary Newman made me take on my Mossad handler, and that is Zephyr. So everyone say hello to my Mossad handler.
Hello.
We love
Now my
Horson.
next
We love
question
Horson in Israel.
is
He's a natural hero. Natural hero.
yeah. My next question is for Peepers. I like some of your responses. I like this idea of zealousness and this fervent kind of, which I've been telling people. Anyone who's been a part of the RPI meetings, my UA, whatever, can testify that I've been telling people we need this cruise. Like I've been saying McCarthyism for the past 2 months. I want a red scare. I want everyone to accuse everyone they don't like of being a filthy, dirty communist working for Stalin, and they're a Russian spy. That is the goal. That is the point of this whole giant communism red scare. So my question to you would be, how would you implement that?
Well, I think the most important part when it comes to the zealousy is you can't really care about yourself as much as some of the people do, right? You have to be willing to kind of die for the cause. And, I think that anyone who's been around and knows me, I've been doing this game mode for far too long, unfortunately, and in a lot of ways. And I'm willing to build that up. And this is the difference when it comes to this election between this election and other elections. Like I said, I'm more than happy to get to vote for George in future elections, but we need to build this into the server. This needs to become an element of the server. This crusade, and I'm calling it a crusade because that's kind of how I did this ICELI, and I'm going to keep rolling with this. We need to create zealots. I'm willing to sit out there and bless the soldiers with the blood of martyrs to get out there and fight the Red Scare. I'm willing to get out there. I'm willing to get out there, and again, like you said, people should be blaming each other and accusing each other of being a communist every time something goes wrong. We should be clamping down on communism every time something goes wrong. We should have trials where people are hung publicly in the streets for being
Like we did.
communists. We should be gathering, we should be gathering allies
Gross.
throughout the world and starting a holy crusade against the Soviets and their attempts to take over Europe through shady means and infiltration. I mean, all these things should be added to the server, and they have to be a top-down thing. And it can't be all coming from the Kaiser. There has to be a player-driven system. And so that's what I want to do. I don't necessarily, this isn't an ego thing for me. I couldn't care less about having the chancellorship under my belt as just a name. But I think that this is really important for the server. You've got 128 people on, whether it's peak hours or off hours right now. Numbers are amazing, and people are really looking for something to do. Today we found a way to really engage people on the server. Yesterday we found a way with the treason document to really create some zealousy and get people behind us. I kind of put some ministers on the spot, so they had to react and do that. We need more of that, and we need more. There has to be that direction.
Holy Roman
That's a
Empire.
great response. Now, I don't have a direct question for you, George, but in fairness, I would like to, ask you one as well. I've known George for a long time. We've known George for a real long time. Okay, we love George. Is there any response you'd like to give, or rather a counter or your own sort of plan for that same idea of, because while I'm not part of this debate, I think Pieper's answer of zealousness and this kind of ideology. So, what would be your plan to implement kind of a fervent ideology or zealousness?
So, I mean, you kind of cut out at the end of it, but I got the general premise of what you were saying. It's similarly in tune with what Peepers was saying. It's just I don't want a party and state that's unified. The party, since the beginning of this game mode, has always pushed its ideology, its policy on people, and I think it's not been emphasized enough for a very, very long time, like Peepers has been saying. So whether we make that mandatory party membership when you're in government, whether that's the MOI, state, party itself, or we even go as far as to say, well, if you're in the military, we need you to be ideological. You need to support the regime. That's something that we can look into. I mean, we are going to look into it, especially for the government.
Speaking of which, I'm thinking of making a fund.
If I
I feel
can,
like
though,
feel
if I
like
can,
communist
go for
vice
it.
chancellor.
without the party, then where does that religious fervor come from? Who's creating it? It can't come from one
No, I
person.
agree.
The party has to be
I
that
agree.
symbol.
But it's like this national thing where everybody's standing for it, where everybody stands for the ideology of the party. But the party and state being unified, it works if there's an absolute dictator at the top. I don't think it's necessarily the best thing for the server at the moment. I think having it sort of not combined, but still function in the way that you're thinking of, would be a very good idea. Probably best for the server. I mean, when I was consul, we did frequent things because we had the opposition, the synergists, led by Rowe. We frequently raided their party headquarters. We did what you were saying, where it was, oh my God, that guy's a communist. Stay away. It was the MOI when I think Niccolo led it.
I may have
calling
put
him
people on a cross and burned them.
Yeah,
I may have
exactly.
burned Compass on a cross. Oopsie, my bad. Anyways, great response, but great responses. And since I asked both of you this, in fairness to Bad Trav, I would like to give you the opportunity before we open it up to everybody else, all the peasants, peons, whatever you want to be called these days. Bad Trav, is there something you would like to add onto that idea of zealousness and fervent ideology to push forward any sort of role play, Red Scare, McCarthyism, whatever?
So, like, as before, I stated that, like, my vice chancellor, he was obviously in the MOI, right? He's obviously going to favor them, and I'm obviously going to favor the Ministry of War. But that's tend to cause some tension between us, correct? And that's in turn gonna cause some tension between the MOI and the Ministry of War, and that'll further the RP between the two factions. Plus, on top of that, more tension between them, more tension between foreign forces such as that, and that'll just take off from there.
Wonderful responses from all of you. And then I hope my Mossad handler is pleased with the questions.
Of course.
Thank you. And then, yes, now anyone can request to come on stage. Varix, Virus, y'all can handle that.
Dog is the first one. Dog, come on up. All right, Dog, the floor is yours. Who's your question to?
Hello. So this is a question to all the candidates. What is your first 100 days going to be like? And if you don't know what that means what are you going to do right out of the gate if you win?
Be communist.
Okay.
Literally, be communist. Yeah.
Wouldn't that just like immediately get you
We've
kicked out?
had a bunch of
Like,
chancellors and a bunch of vice chancellors that aren't doing, the opposite of
So,
what we want to
what
do.
do you- all right, so question off of that.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when the Kaiser immediately gives you the boot and has you shot?
Well, you're not going to be that obvious, are you, really? Let's be factual. You don't want to
So
be in
you're
a
going to
position
secretly
for like
undermine
1
the
hour.
government?
Well, yeah, let's do it that way. Let's think of it that way. Do the opposite of what we're doing now.
Right. Well,
Make
if
it
you want
fun.
a communist, vote for Kieran. Vote for Peepers.
Damn
You've
right,
heard it yourself,
guys.
people.
Damn right. No,
If you
not
want
Beepers,
communism,
not
vote
Hold on.
Peepers.
Not Beepers, not
You're on
Beepers.
the same ticket.
Well,
He doesn't know I was going to be communist. So.
Well, he does now.
Well, he does now. He does now.
That is a shame for him.
Anyway,
Well, if you want
communism.
Dharma, vote me. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on.
If you want communism, vote me.
Papers, would you like to address that in any way?
Yeah, we're not going to have any communists. Quite the opposite.
you
Our first,
Were you a little taken aback by Wheeler's Kieran statement just then?
I think we should comment on what we were going to do.
Of course I am, and I'm not sure where he's going with that. But what I can tell you is the first 100 days is going to be the beginning of the crusade. It's going to be rallying the troops. Foreign ministry, whoever's the foreign minister, their job is going to be creating allies who are just as threatened by communism as we are. I'm going to combine the propaganda.
I mean, you're going to remove me?
the propaganda.
trying to say?
If you're on board with it, I'm more than happy. I don't need to remove anybody who's willing to do their job. Propaganda leader and truth minister are going to get combined. Their job is going to be to just spout anti-communist propaganda and really start to get the people on board with this holy crusade. Minister of War is going to have to come up with options to be able to contain the borders and start to push outwards if necessary, if we find that there's any kind of influence from France or some of these other countries, and we're going to crush this rebellion in Spain against our allies and try to push our allies towards our ideology. As far as Minister of Interior is concerned, I want someone in there who's going to clamp down on these revolts happening on the border towns and really just be an absolute brutal dog with that stuff. This dogma, anybody who's revolting, even if it's for a legit purpose, is going to be labeled a communist. We're going to start hanging them in the city halls.
Okay. All right. Does that answer your question?
On a second, can I just add something? Peepers, I don't think there's any coming back after what Kieran just said about.
I have to agree.
There's no coming back.
I think I'm just fine.
Wheeler, I just want to ask you: are you intoxicated? We just want to double check on you.
I think he's had to go. I think he said something in the chat.
He has had to go.
Yeah.
Did
he leave? Oh, he's gone. Okay. All right. Thanks, dog.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Odysseus is next.
He passed out. He drank too much.
You didn't let me answer the question.
Yeah.
We have.
Hey, no biased moderators. All right, let's hear it.
All right, answer, George.
So yeah, I mean the first 100 days, so to speak, in that term, similar to Peepers, there's going to be a big look on communism. I didn't actually think of this, but I'm going to do a Tony Blair and steal his idea to sort of combine the role of propaganda leader for the party and truth minister. I think that's actually a really good sort of idea from his part. But in terms of server side, what I'm actually going to be doing with the Federal Council, there's going to be a big push on a major review of all legislation passed in the Reichstag in the Federal Council. I'm going to order the ministers, once the government is no longer suspended, to start reviewing that, bringing forth any amendments they want, bringing forth any nullifications that they desire.
But what does that
We've obviously seen a lot of laws be forgotten. I think Rhodesia once passed a Civil Service Act that I've never seen used other than once, and that was by myself. And then after that, once that's been pushed through the cabinet, we're going to do a large general summit to get all of these generals back on track with the idea of pushing back against communism, like Peepers has suggested beforehand, because that's the biggest threat to Germany currently.
Okay, respectfully, George, but what does that do? I mean,
Sure.
what does that actually do? We have about 100.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be-
with about 100 laws in it,
Sure.
and no one follows them. Whenever someone wants to do something, they
this is the thing.
they say, and you've done this too. They've said, "I'm going to use your law as toilet paper and not follow it." What does it do?
Well,
There's
no, I haven't done that with
common
anybody's
purpose.
laws.
It's just a watered down. It's a watered down political bureaucratic system of paper RP that doesn't actually put a person and a body on the server. It has no.
I mean, that's
purpose.
not true, right? It does have a purpose, because the main thing that I'm going with this is these protection laws, where people over the rank of major, so on and so forth, are protected against this, that, and the other. They have to be detained with a warrant. If we're going out on this all attack against communism, right, they're going to be stripped. I'm going to be completely honest with everybody here. I'm going to ask the ministers, I'm going to get Zephyr to convince them, as the head of the cabinet, if we're elected, to start stripping these down, give the police more powers, everybody more powers.
And then everyone shifts over to the MOI, and then the military gets overwhelmed, and the numbers leave because the military gets overwhelmed.
No, that's not going to be the case. It's what we're going to do is strip down these protections, but also empower the other factions to fight against them. Like, it's
I get what you're trying to do, George. I do, right? But we all know how this works, right? The side that feels like they have the support, people will shift to, and they'll shift to that side, kill the other side. Those people leave, numbers drop, and the one side gets to operate for a month or so without any real opposition. It doesn't actually do anything, right? You get rid of these laws. You get rid of these laws where majors and above, and there's warrants and yada yada yada. Okay, well now you've dismantled the MOJ. Right now they're not playing a role.
No,
and people can walk into a base as long as they've got more numbers. People can walk into a base if they have more numbers and just say, "I'm taking so and so. I've got a warrant," and write their own warrants.
And then there'll be repercussions later down the line for it.
Fantastic, but in the process, they're just dismantling. I mean, I'm seeing this right now with the Volkswagen. All you have to do is keep their leadership in a cell, and they'll never grow. So what's the point? I mean, then there's no RP. And you know what happens? That happens for a week, 2 weeks,
Well,
whatever.
these laws are in
and those
place,
people just say,
Peters, and
I'm
then
going to go
nothing's
somewhere
being
else
done
because
about
the law
it.
doesn't
These laws
support
are already in place that protect these people that you're talking about, and they do nothing. They're a piece of paper, as you said, that people just throw
yourself found
away.
out that when you took over the MOJ and killed me and killed the Chancellor, that the
Hi.
laws don't matter. The laws don't matter
Well,
unless
they
you
do.
have
They
more
absolutely
guns.
do matter.
You
That's
have to
completely
have
untrue.
you
That,
have
no,
to
that
have
is
an
completely
ideology.
untrue.
You
That is
have to
completely
have an
untrue.
ideology.
I'm sorry, that is not true. You look at
You-
these
You
laws;
and I
they're there for a
disagree.
purpose,
You and I
right?
Okay.
disagree.
Let's. Well, I think
mean-
we've gotten down to the heart of Dog's question. Odysseus has been waiting patiently. I heard he's the best
Yeah.
lawyer in
Sorry,
Berlin.
Odysseus.
Do you have something? Your question?
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. We've been talking much about law here, so I simply want to know how. And this question goes to all the candidates. How do your administrations plan on handling their relationship with the Ministry of Justice? And furthermore, how will the administrations help bring about the Kaiser's justice in Berlin while also making it appealing for new players?
It's a great question. Yeah, great question. I'll start if you don't mind. So, the policy that I'm going to pursue with the Ministry of Justice, I'm not going to have to use them as a weight to balance out my power and keep me in place because I'll be democratically elected if I win. The main priority with them is quick and speedy justice. It's a slogan that we've all heard before. It's something that I'm going to push very heavily. These players, the new players especially, don't enjoy being in a court case for 3 hours, for 2 hours. They just want to be in, fight their case and be out. And that's what we're going to push from the Ministry of Justice. It's quite simple on our part, man and Zephyr. I don't know if Zephyr has contrasting opinions. We've not really discussed in depth the Ministry of Justice, but from my perspective, that's my desire: quick and speedy justice, and then everybody will be happy. It'll be nice.
I don't have a differing opinion about it, but I do think it's necessary that we see the Ministry of Justice do more trials, interesting trials. I mean, I haven't seen an actually interesting trial in a very long time.
Yeah.
And we need to start having those again because then it gets people invested in the law system of Berlin. It really does. When you have interesting trials that are dynamic, that actually matter and funny to some degree.
Okay, I mean, Odysseus was in a trial with me 2 days ago that lasted 3 hours, right, Odysseus?
Yeah, that's boring. It was boring.
During that trial, there's
Yes,
a
I can
place.
confirm this.
Yeah, there's a place for that, right? In some cases, there's a place for the big, interesting spectacle trials, yada yada yada, right? But on the average basis, it really doesn't work. And we've tried this due process thing. We've tried this respect the court systems, respect the law thing. It works when there's like a virus at the top and people are kind of like, hey, let's make this work. But unless you raise the banner high and everyone rallies around it, then you're not going to have that. Everyone has to have something to do and a goal to work towards, right? If we say, okay, the banner's the party, the banner's the chancellorship, the banner's the Kaiser, the banner's the crusade, then every single minister can now look at that banner, move towards it with their own policies, move towards this crusade against communism with their own policies. A minister of justice can say, okay, fantastic. Now I can start taking people and we can do these trials like you saw, I won't say where it was, but these trials where it isn't a matter of, okay, defense, would you like to speak? But it's a matter of, oh, how do you answer for yourself? You put the nation in jeopardy, off with his head type of things. I mean, they can play to this. Foreign ministers can play to this. Justice ministers can play to this. Science ministers can play to this. Really, anybody can play to this banner. And if we don't have the banner, then it's just going to be a watered down system. And if I don't get elected, fine, I'll stay. I'll push this through the party, and then someday a consul will come into place and support it, and we'll start this when that happens. But until that happens, then we're really getting a watered down version of what I'm talking about, and that's fine.
Let's go to Bad Trav. Last one, then we'll
Yeah,
go to the next
honestly,
speaker.
both great answers. Agree with both. We need to make it quicker because nobody really wants to sit through a 3-hour trial, right?
No.
But then again, if some trials are fun, right? Like if there's like a very
if it's a big
high,
trial,
like
yeah.
big trial, make it fun. Don't just make it sit there, be like, you did this, you did that, whatever. Make it like new evidence, like introduce it in a fun manner. Introduce it so people aren't falling asleep during the trial. Like it make it not boring. Like people like don't want to be there. Trials should be a fun thing to do. Like they should be like a fun RP situation where people can enjoy themselves. Lawyers can do whatever. Like they do, right? They can have fun with it. They have their freedoms, and that's what they should do with trials.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Marshall is the next speaker. Thank you, Odysseus. If you guys want to find him, he has a law office somewhere. He's one of the top lawyers of the server.
Yes,
Thanks,
hello,
Odysseus.
gentlemen. I have a few questions.
Uh-huh.
For one is a question aimed at peepers. Throughout this debate, you've stated one of your main goals is to create this banner, this zealot organization within the government and party, mixing the two, blurring the lines between everything inside our government, and be this banner leading our nation forward past communism and against our enemies of Europe. I just have a question in regards to that. Isn't that the job of the console anyway? For one, why couldn't that be done as the console? I mean, we've already seen the party and state combined for the last month or two. What changes now where you couldn't just do that job originally?
Well, for one thing, we've got an election, right? So whoever wins this election is going to have public support. They're going to have a public mandate. They're going to have Kaiser support once they're affirmed, right? So whenever someone puts a policy into place, that policy is going to be somewhat respected. They're going to have a chance to choose the council. They're going to have a chance to make plenipotentiaries. They're going to have a chance to really create positions to further their agenda. I mean, that's just the reality of the position of chancellor, right? So as consul, yeah, we've got the ability to create some of this fervency. I can do this on a micro level, right? But what I want to do, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this, I want to create a holy crusade out of this. And what I want to do is take that micro level of what I have in mind and put it on a macro level. And the macro level requires the chancellorship. And I can wait this out. That's fine. George is more than happy to win if he does win, or if the other individual, Bad Trav, wins, then that's fine. We can wait this out. But the problem is that that's all we're going to be doing. We're going to be waiting this out, right? If we want a system that's existing, that we've had, that's still going, that's fine. We can keep going. If we want to make a change, we want to push the server in a new direction where we're creating this World War crusade, and it's internal and external, and there's lots of fun elements to that, then let's do that. And I don't care. Again, this isn't a popularity contest for me. I will sit down with anybody at the table. I don't need to have people put in place in positions of power that are yes men or that only agree with me. I'm perfectly happy with working with people as long as there's a mandate in place that we're moving towards the crusade. And I say the crusade because that's what I intended. I intend to be a zealot. I intend to be a zealot when I'm in that office. I intend to give speeches and be a zealot and really push this.
Okay, does that answer your question, Marshall? Or we got to put chance?
Yeah, I just have one more.
Okay, let's make it super quick. Go for it.
So, with the party and state being as combined as they have been over the last month or so since Gary took over, I mean, wouldn't you agree that because of it, we've seen a lack of engagement between the two? You're not really able to fight between the party and state like you should be able to, that we've seen in previous versions of the city. And how do you think that will affect roleplay going forward? And one last thing, how will getting Chancellor affect Bad Trav's YouTube channel? And those are my last two. Thank you.
I have a YouTube channel apparently. It'll be
You
great.
do.
It'll be wonderful.
30 seconds to answer this question. So we go to the next one.
Yeah, it will affect it greatly.
I'm gonna just give like a 4-second answer.
Alright, go for it.
The basics is that there hasn't been a unity in the past, and there needs to be one in the future. It's just never been used. It's just never been used.
Okay.
I get other game modes it has, but it hasn't on this.
Thank you, Marshall. We'll move on to Perchance. He's the next speaker. Perchance?
Hello?
Yes. Please ask your question.
Firstly, I've been catching a lot of strays today. Second, I have a question for Peepers. So you keep saying, I know that Marshall said this too, but you keep saying you need the Chancellor to unify the party and the state and make the council powerful. But why not just claw your way to the top like it did when it was the CDPK in the old times? You know,
100%. I agree you could, but the problem is the chancellor is going to be a roadblock for anybody, no matter what they are in government. Things are different than they were in the old servers, right? Because the chancellor position is different. And George has already made it clear that he doesn't support the unification, and I do. We're both friends. We're both we're capable of doing this. We just have different platforms. Mine's unity, and his is not. So if you believe the unity, if you want the new direction, if that's exciting to you, then vote for me. If you you've seen George in power, you're going to see him again in power. If that's what you want, then vote for George.
how can you say there's
on the
no
contrary
unity?
to that, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the unity thing is very true, right? I don't support a unified party and state. I don't think that's the best solution for the server. But that doesn't outright rule me out of supporting the party, pushing the party's agenda. I don't think it's really fair to say that I'm not going to do that. Don't get me wrong, I've had this conversation with you before, Peepers, in an office where I said, oh, I'm not too arsed about the party. That's because at the moment my character's in the military as a general, right?
Mhm.
He is there to do a simple job, and that's intelligence work. But furthering this, going down the line, becoming Chancellor, if I get elected, it's going to be different. This ideological platform that you talk of is exactly what the Chancellor would need to get the nation into a stronger position. And I actually agree with the empowerment of the party system, of the GPA, right? It's just the unification part I disagree with you on. That's the only thing from me on that.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. And again, we're different platforms. We have different ideas of what we want to
Mhm.
do. My tenure will be different than George's, and in
Yep.
any other situation, I'd support George. He's a good friend. I think he's capable.
Okay,
But this is just going to be different.
Let's go to the next person, which is thank you, anything else perchance? I think it's good. All right, Jersey is next. Jersey, and then after we'll Pilard, Navarro, and Illenjoy. Go for it.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
So recently we've done a poll within the chat. Does the White Rose Party have citizen confidence? A whopping 18% of people voted no. So my first question is, how are you going to get citizens to support the White Rose Party after this controversial time?
So I'll answer that in kind of a fun, jokey way. We're gonna hang them from the rafters and use their blood to bless our troops if they don't. No, the reality is the White Rose Party. It just hasn't been visible, right? It hasn't really been visible since the big party systems in the Reichstag and all that stuff. The White Rose Party. This is my first week as its chairman, and I'm sure Gary knew this when he was chairman. It's a kind of a weird system now that it's the only system, and it kind of grew out of this multi-party deal. And what we have to do is be vocal. And like I said, the only way, and this is, I believe this deeply. The only way the White Rose Party and the GPA becomes relevant is if it becomes the banner, if it is the banner, if it is the religion, right? If the Kaiser's the symbol, the party's the religion, and this is the religion of the country. It's the only way it becomes relevant. I get there needs to be this. I get we're used to this with CDPK, CDRK, this bicameral system, fight each other politically. That's fine. I can create positions within the GPA like I just have that'll have counterparts within the council, right? And they can fight each other. But without any mandate, without any power to empower those positions in the party, then the council has no reason to even think they exist. And that's just the reality.
Okay.
Okay,
Can I get
awesome.
everyone else's opinion?
Yes, this, that question going back to I'm sorry, say again, Jersey?
No, I was just going to say, can I get every candidate's input on this?
George,
could you repeat the general premise of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did an opinion poll within this chat during this debate. Does the White Rose Party have the support of the citizens? A whopping 18 votes to 1 said no. So how are you going to get citizens to trust the White Rose Party after everything controversial which has happened?
So, I mean, it's quite a similar answer to Peepers, but it's this ideological position that the White Rose Party needs to take in the future. They need to be hot on smashing out communist sympathies. Anything that is aligning with a communist-style government should be seen as almost treason, right? And it's like Major was saying before, this McCarthyism about communism, the Red Scare, it's something that I'm going to push the party, if elected as Chancellor, to really reinforce this fear, this aggression towards communism.
30 seconds to Bad Trev to answer this, and then we'll go to Pylor.
Like he said, Rose Party, it's just gotta be very tough on communism. Good idea. I like the idea of the religion whole thing. I think it's wonderful. But I don't want. The issue is some people don't want to be completely unified with the party, and that's what the issue with the people come from, because the people don't want to do that. So
Okay,
Okay.
tough on communism is a wonderful concept, right? But we're seeing in reality, even right now, the
Yeah.
Volkswatch, for example, which is supposed to be the ideological paramilitary of the party, is just being held up in prison
Well,
cells the entire
the
time. So I
youth
can't
and the
Let's
gang,
go to.
the
We're gonna
youth
have to go
and
to
the
the next
gang of
question.
thugs.
Yeah, next question. Next question.
Well, next question. All right, this is a Pylard. Pylard's been invited. Where's Pylard? Where are you? I'm gonna dismiss it. There he is. There's Pylard.
Oh,
Pylard,
there.
your question.
My question's for Zephyr Tempest. Zephyr, how many Palestinian hospitals have you bombed?
All right, we're
Okay.
moving to the audience. All right,
That's
that's
that
done.
one.
Yeah,
Next
can't
one,
answer that.
Navarro. Navarro's next.
Oh, there we go. Hello.
Yes.
My question, I have two questions. One for Jake and one for George.
Sure.
George, trusting you were, I believe, one of the best, not the best, sorry. One of the best military leaders we had within the military factions. Would your government will be a warlord like Chinese warlord like, meaning how tough are you gonna be on the rest of the factions, knowing you probably have that favoritism towards the military?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but it's a balancing act, the chancellorship. I've obviously been fortunate enough to have been in this position before. You have to play, and this is the greatest respect to Ickbin, to Gator, to all of the other faction leaders, very carefully, because if you tip too heavily into one side, we saw it last time with Callaway. He was going to kill me. I had to act first, and we killed him off as a result of that. And then I jumped over to the military, took his position. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to blatantly favour any side, right? The position of Chancellor, especially when you have a democratic mandate, you're the type of position that is the executive. You are the top dog. You weigh in your decision, and that's that, right? That's the intention with this administration. And each time, it's going to be circumstantial. Whoever's in the right, you support. Whoever's in the wrong, you don't. It's quite, especially when you're elected, it's quite simple with the Chancellor on how you're supposed to operate in a system like this.
Yes.
Oh,
beautiful. Now for the question for Jake. Jake, you and I, we actually share something. We both study history. I myself study major in history. Work at a museum. Jake, how are you gonna deal with the upcoming new social movements that are gonna rise within the server?
Who's that question to?
That was to you.
To you.
To me?
Yes.
I don't know. Whoever's held I'm the moderator. Let the Crusaders figure it out. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. Who asked the moderator the question? He'll enjoy. Last one.
Hello, I got two questions for all the candidates. My first one will be, how will you deal with all of these dirty immigrants coming in?
Out. Get them out.
Out.
All right.
The city
back
is
where they came
full.
from.
The city is full of these immigrants in our city right now. They're taking all of our jobs. We need something done.
Thank you.
German jobs for German people.
All right, everybody. Okay, we're now going to do closing statements, and then I will open the election ballot polls. All right, we'll start with ticket 1. George, please begin your closing statement.
Yeah, I'm not going to bore you to death with a 50-page long script. We've all said the best that we can say. We've all given you our most convincing argument, and now it's up to you to decide who you want to lead the server politically. What we bring, myself and Zephyr, is experience. We bring a system that works, and round 2, that's what we bring to you, the people. Peepers is going to offer you something different in that it's going to be his first time in the position. He offers something massively different to myself and Bad Trav. Bad Trav, I love you. I love how enthusiastic you are. Unfortunately, I think you just need a little bit more experience. But best.
I understand.
Yeah, best of luck.
Okay, closing Zephyr.
Well, Mr. Gonigan said basically everything I was gonna say, but I will end it with I like Peepers' idea of doing a religious fervor, but we already can do that. It is the Kaiser. It is a Kaiserreich. We have the ability to empower the Kaiser more and monarchy in general. I mean, it's not an issue of anything else. We have a Kaiser, and we should focus on supporting him and making him the elect of God, which he is. And I think that's very simple. That's very simple.
Getting Israeli vibes from that one. Okay, great. Let's go to Peepers' closing statement.
Sure. So again, this is not, we're an OOC here. This is not an experience issue, right? I've been NHC at the highest echelons for damn near 5 years now. I've got plenty of experience. I would argue somewhat more than George even. But George is he's damn good at what he does. He's a good faction builder. I think he could do this very well. But the problem is that I want to take the server in a new direction, and I want to do that for the health of the server. We've got numbers up, numbers are healthy and doing well, and I think it's our responsibility as NHC, especially through the chancellorship, to give them direction, give them something new to do. Now, these people are standing by every day and waiting for a civil war to start, and other than that, they're just kind of training and hoping that the politics kind of does its own thing. Let's change that. Let's make a change. Let's take the server in a new direction. Let's do an experiment. Let's figure out what this looks like when we go from Kaiserreich to Holy Crusade with new allies, a new world war. Let's shake things up from the way they used to be. George has been chancellor before. I'm sure he'll be chancellor again. He's damn good at it. But again, this is the time to change things, change direction, and that's what I'm here to do.
Okay, Bad Trav, your final closing statement.
As they said, I may not have that much experience. I know that. However, I am willing to adapt. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be the best at my job possible. I'm going to be better than these other candidates. I'm going to be the best there is. I'm going to be for the people, of the people, for Germany, for the Kaiser. Thank you all.
Okay.
So real quick. Peepers, you used the word, you want to do an experiment? You want us all to experiment?
I call it an experiment because we're taking things in a new direction. We've done the Kaiserreich.
So you want to experiment with a bunch of, with a bunch of boys? That's what you're telling us? You want to experiment with a bunch of boys?
I'm willing to take
Is that what you're telling the community?
I think
Is
the
that what
men
you're
and
telling the community?
I think the men and women within our empire have a part to play in the new system.
The only woman here is like Sydney, and she's 800 pounds. So I don't think.
I don't discriminate. I don't discriminate. Everybody's beautiful in their own ways.
Yeah,
Everybody's beautiful.
All right.
My God.
Virus, something you wanted to add?
I say, vote for none of these people. Write in Hendrik Balmer. Hendrik Balmer for Chancellor und Kaiser. Okay.
We love our Kaiser. We love our Kaiser, gentlemen.
That's the new title.
Yes. Oh, and everybody, please do the little exit poll. CNN does need your opinion. They posted in the chat. Please see who you think won. They're considered the ticket. Peepers.
Yeah, Virus, do some exit polling. Virus. Let's go.
Yeah.
This little ching chong chink is great at these little stats. So let's go. Chop.
Let's see.
Let's go. Slant high. No, Virus was to help me with my math homework like last year for college. This guy, I'm telling you, is dumb as shit when it comes to math. It was I was offhanding asking like a stupid algebra question that I already knew the answer to, and holy shit! His ancestors are not happy. Not happy.
Oh my God.
And
No
all right, another
Asian. Oh my God.
Another exit poll. Best vice chancellor, Kieran Zephyr or the other guy? Gunn. That's his name.
I mean, one's a communist, one ran away. I think
Yeah.
the obvious choice here.
Communist is 0 votes.
I think my vice chancellor found the bottom of a bottle today.
Everybody is voting for the other guy, apparently, not Kieran or is that? Oh wow. Okay, gotcha. So Gunn. All right. I think that definitely ends it for everybody. Right now, I'm about to start the election in game, so people want to get ready and start lining up, and it will be open momentarily. We thank all the candidates for coming for the Chancellor debates, and good luck.
1 second, I have to write all these people that
Thank you
are.
very much.
1 second, I have to write all these people that are voting against me. Then send it to Mossad. 1 second.
Oh yeah, report to Mossad. Let everybody know we're okay. There's some, Mossad. I don't want to deal with them. CNN's funded by the Mossad. Remember that, everybody.
I'm gonna get points taken off my Jewish social credit score if my Mossad handler gets destroyed in this election.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. Not going to be good. We're going to have to call Gary Newman again.
All right, here we go. We're going to end the event and get ready. Here it comes. Oh, you haven't.
All right, close this. Kick all these out of here.
There we go.
Get them out.
Goodbye, everybody.